The hour has been chosen, not by accident, not by chance. And tonight the air around you carries something that has no ordinary explanation. You can feel it, even if you cannot name it. A stillness has settled in your space, deep and expectant, like the moment before dawn breaks across the dark. That is not your imagination. That is my presence drawing near. I have been watching you. Every step you have taken, every road you have walked when the weight felt unbearable. Every night you lay down without answers, and still rose the next morning to try again. I have seen all of it. Not one moment has been hidden from me. Not one prayer has fallen silent before it reached my hearing. You have carried more than most people know. You have endured more than you have ever spoken aloud. And tonight, I am here to tell you that heaven has not been silent. Heaven has been working. This moment is sacred, the one you are in right now. The one where these words are reaching your spirit. I did not bring you here without purpose. I do not move without reason. You were drawn to this hour because this hour belongs to you. It was written before you took your first breath, before your name existed in any language of men. It was written in mine. And I speak it now over you with authority and love. What is approaching your life is not small. Do not let the quietness of this moment fool you into thinking nothing is happening. The most powerful things I do are done in silence. I built the foundations of the earth in stillness. I knit life together in the hidden places. And right now, in the unseen realm that stands behind everything you can touch and see, I am arranging what belongs to you. You have prayed. I know the words. I know the ones you whispered with faith, and I know the ones you barely managed to speak, because grief had taken your breath. I know the prayers you offered up in the middle of the night, when no one else was awake. I know the ones you repeated for years, the same request, the same longing, the same hope you refused to let die. That faithfulness is seen. It is recorded. And it is the reason tonight carries the weight that it does. This is not a coincidence. The people who arrive at this moment are not stumbling here by luck. They are the ones I have called. The ones whose seasons of waiting have finally reached their appointed end. You are one of them. Not because you are without fault, not because you have done everything right, but because I am a God who keeps His word. And I made a promise concerning your life long before you were old enough to ask for it. Feel the air around you. Something sacred has shifted. The walls of your home have witnessed prayers rise from your lips and lift toward heaven. And tonight, those prayers are being answered. Not slowly, but completely. Not partially, but in full. What I do with wholeness. What I restore with more than what was lost. That is my nature. That is the signature of my love. You may have felt strange in recent days, as though something was on the verge of changing, as though an invisible line was about to be crossed. That is because it is. You were not imagining it. I was preparing your spirit for what it was about to receive. I do not pour out what I have prepared without first making the vessel ready. I had to strengthen certain things in you. I had to settle certain truths inside you, so that when the blessing came, you would be able to carry it without fear. Do not dismiss what you are sensing tonight. The peace that is beginning to settle over you. The warmth you may feel in your chest, the unusual calm that seems to have no human explanation. These are signs not of superstition but of presence. My presence does not announce itself with noise and spectacle. It arrives the way dawn does, quietly, until the darkness has no choice but to give way. And that is exactly what is happening now. You are standing at the beginning of something new. the life that has felt stalled, the dreams that have sat waiting, the healing that has seemed just out of reach. This is the hour where all of it begins to move again. I have heard every word you have ever spoken to me in private, and my answer is not delayed anymore. Tonight my hand moves on your behalf, and nothing in heaven or earth can stop what I have ordained to be released into your life. So, draw in a slow breath right now. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tension you have been carrying begin to loosen. You do not need to carry it into this hour. This hour is mine and in mine. There is room only for faith, and for the sound of what is coming. There are things I see from where I stand, that you cannot yet see from where you are. I see the end from the beginning. I see the completed picture when you are still looking at scattered pieces. What I see when I look at your life tonight is a turning, a door swinging open, a season that has been sealed finally breaking free. Something of great weight and goodness is on its way. You have waited long enough for it, and tonight the wait is over. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description, or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. Hear me now. The limit you set on what I can do does not change what I have already decided. My plans for you are not cancelled by your disappointment. My promises are not weakened by the passage of time. They are alive. They are moving. And in this sacred hour they are arriving. I want to speak to the waiting you have known, not the surface kind of waiting where a few weeks pass and the answer comes. I mean the deep kind, the kind that stretches across seasons. The kind that makes you wonder if you have been forgotten. The kind where you watch others receive what you have been believing for, and you smile for them, while quietly wondering when your turn will come. I know that waiting, and I need you to understand something about it. That waiting was not a punishment. It was never evidence of my rejection. Every day you waited was a day I was building in the unseen what needed to be strong before it appeared in the seen. The roots of a tree grow long before the branches rise. You cannot see root work, but without it nothing that rises will stand. I was doing root work in your life. Deep, hidden, necessary work that no human eye could observe, and it was never wasted. You cried, I know. There were nights the tears came without warning, and you sat with grief you did not know how to name. There were mornings you had to choose to keep going, when every feeling in you said there was no point. I watched every one of those moments. I was not distant. I was not looking away. I was closer to you in those moments than the air around you. My heart was moved by what you carried, and I kept record of every silent act of faith you performed. Faith does not always look like confidence. Sometimes faith looks like getting up one more time. Sometimes faith looks like praying a prayer you do not feel because you have chosen to trust something beyond your feelings. Sometimes faith looks like holding on with bleeding hands and refusing to let go of what I placed in your heart. That is the faith that moves me most. The quiet, persistent, painful kind, and that is exactly the kind you have walked in. You did not give up on me. You could have. There were reasons to walk away. The answers did not come on your schedule. The pain was real. The silence was long, and still you stayed. Still, you spoke my name. Still, you believed that what I promised would come to pass. That is not a small thing. That is the testimony of a soul that has been proven, and I do not take it lightly. In the book of Job, a man lost everything he had in a single season of storm. He had done nothing wrong. He was a good man, a faithful man, a man who honored my name. And yet, the darkness came and stripped what he had built. His companions told him to curse me and give up, and yet, he would not. He held on, he cried out, he refused to surrender his faith, and at the appointed time, I stepped in and gave him twice what he had lost. That is the God I am. I do not lead faithful ones through the fire and leave them there. The fire has a purpose, and then the fire ends. My precious one, your fire is ending. The season that tested you to its limit has reached its final day. I am not prolonging this any further. What I withheld to protect you, I am now releasing because you are ready. What felt like delay was actually the time. I needed to prepare what could not be rushed. The blessing that is coming to you was not small enough to be hurried. It required space and time to be made complete, and now it is complete. And now it comes. Declare your amen if you believe this word is for you. Hear me carefully now. The things that happened in your past, the losses, the betrayals, the doors that closed, the seasons that broke your heart. Those things were not the end of your story. They were chapters, hard chapters, honest chapters, chapters you never would have chosen, but they are chapters, not conclusions. The story is still being written, and the chapter you are stepping into now bears no resemblance to what came before. I am a God of new things. When I say I make all things new, I mean every broken place, every dried up well, every darkened corner of the life you thought you had lost. I remember the prayer you prayed when you were at your lowest. The one you prayed when no one else was in the room. The one where you told me exactly how tired you were, and you asked me if I was still there. I was there. I heard it word by word, and I said in that moment, this one is not going to be left. This one has held on longer than most. This one deserves an answer that matches the measure of their faith. And I began to prepare what I am now delivering. Rest in that. Let it settle into you like rain into dry ground. You are not forgotten. You were never forgotten. The delay was the preparation. The silence was the deep breath before the declaration, and the declaration is this: your season has turned. What was withheld is now being released. What was closed is now opening. What was broken is now being made whole. This is not a promise for a future season. This is now, right now, in this moment, the tide of your life has shifted. Think of David. He was anointed king when he was still tending sheep on a hillside. He received the word of his calling, and then went back to the field. Years passed, he faced giants. He lived in caves. He ran from the one who wanted him dead. and yet not one promise I spoke over him fell to the ground. Every word I declared over his life arrived in its fullness at the appointed time. I am the same God, and the words I have spoken over you will not fall to the ground, either. I am telling you tonight that you have endured what was necessary. The wilderness has an end. The desert has a border, and you have walked to the edge of it. The promised land is not a dream deferred. It is the next step, and I have already prepared it to receive you. There is a world you cannot see with your natural eyes. It exists alongside the one you move through every day. It is the realm where my purposes are carried, where prayers are held, where the assignments of heaven are executed. And tonight I want you to know what has been happening in that realm on your behalf. I sent my messengers ahead of you. Long before this hour arrived, I dispatched heaven's servants to your path. They cleared what was blocking the way. They stood against the forces that tried to shut the door that I intended to open. Every attack that seemed to succeed against you, every setback that seemed permanent, every wall that seemed impossible to cross. There was a battle happening behind those things, and the battle was not going the way your circumstances suggested. Heaven was winning. Heaven was always winning. The enemy of your soul made calculations about your life. He studied the patterns of your pain, and concluded that you were broken beyond recovery. He decided that if he struck in the same places enough times, your faith would finally collapse. He measured the length of your waiting, and assumed that silence would eventually hollow out your trust. He was wrong. He underestimated you, and he underestimated me, because I was watching over you, and I never allowed what was sent against you to be more than you could bear. My promise to you has always been this: the trial will not exceed the one who faces it. I calibrate. I do not let my children be overwhelmed beyond what my strength inside them can sustain. Every time the pressure intensified, so did my grace over your life. You may not have felt that grace in the way you expected, but it was there. It held you when you thought you were falling. You are still standing. That is not an accident. Many people have faced what you have faced, and did not come through it with their faith intact. You did. You are here. You are still holding on to what I placed in your heart. That is evidence of my grace operating in you. You did not do it alone. I kept you. I protected something in you that the darkness tried again and again to extinguish, and it never went out. Say yes if this word is reaching your spirit right now. Now hear this, because heaven has been fighting on your behalf. The ground that was taken from you in previous seasons is being reclaimed. What the enemy stole from you, my hand is recovering it. Peace that was taken, returning. Joy that was stolen, coming back. Relationships that were broken by lies and bitterness, my hand is moving on those as well. I am not a God who leaves the battlefield with a partial victory. I pursue restoration to its completion. In the days of old when my people had been plundered, I spoke a word through my servant Joel. I said I would restore the years that the locust had eaten. Think of what that means. Not just the current season, not just what was taken last month or last year. The full span, the accumulated losses, the years of drought, the years where the harvest never came, all of it. That is the scope of what I am releasing over your life. Not a partial restoration, a full one. The messengers I sent before you have completed the advance work. The path is clear. The obstacles that stood between you and what belongs to you have been moved. You will begin to notice things shifting around you in ways that have no logical explanation. A situation that was stalled for years will suddenly move. A door that was firmly shut will open without warning. An opportunity will present itself that seems to come from nowhere. Those are not coincidences. Those are the results of what was prepared for you in the unseen. Do not be afraid of sudden change. Some people pray for change, and then become uneasy when it actually begins to happen. Do not let that be you. What is shifting around you is shifting for your good. Every rearrangement is intentional. Every unexpected development is part of what I have designed. Trust the movement. Trust the process. Trust the God who is doing the moving. I am bringing back what you thought was gone forever. I am opening up what you had stopped hoping for. And I am doing it with more abundance than you asked for. Because that is who I am. I do not give minimums. I give out of the fullness of what I hold, and what I hold is without limit. The measure you receive is determined by the faith you carry and the readiness of your vessel. Your vessel has been made ready. Your faith has been tested and found true. The measure you are about to receive is not small, so lift your head right now. Let the posture of your spirit rise. You have been bowed under the weight of this long season, and I understand why. But that posture belongs to the season that is ending. The one beginning requires you to stand, to look forward, to open your hands and your heart to what is coming. What I am bringing to you cannot enter a closed space. Open. Be opened and receive what has already been sent. My servants have been stationed around your home, not as a symbol. In truth, they are there. The place where you rest and rise. The place where your prayers have been spoken. That place carries the weight of heaven's attention tonight. It has been marked. There is an invisible covering over the roof above you, over the threshold you walk through, over the ground beneath your feet. Heaven has claimed your dwelling as a place of divine exchange. What leaves tonight is the weight. What enters is the promise, and the trade is permanent. My beloved, I want to talk to you now about what this miracle actually looks like when it arrives. People sometimes expect the sky to split open, a voice like thunder to shake the walls, fire to fall from above. Those things have happened in my history with humanity, and they carry weight. But most of what I do arrives differently. It arrives quietly. It arrives with the texture of the ordinary. And then suddenly, the ordinary is transformed into something you cannot explain. It may arrive as a thought that gives you a direction you had not considered. A thought so clear and so settled that you know it did not originate in you. It may arrive as a message from someone you had not heard from in some time, carrying words that open something you had stopped trying to open. It may arrive as a feeling of peace so complete that the thing which has been keeping you awake at night suddenly loosens its grip. You will know it is mine, because it will carry peace rather than fear. Everything I bring to you comes with peace as its signature. Declare, I receive this, if your heart is open to what I am releasing tonight. The miracle does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it is a door opening in a situation that was sealed for years. Sometimes it is a burden lifting from your chest at 300 in the morning, and you fall into the deepest sleep you have had in months. Sometimes it is a kindness from a stranger that carries the exact word you needed at the exact moment you needed it. These are not small things. These are the fingerprints of my hand on the surface of your life. Do not minimize what seems small. The greatest breakthroughs in the stories of my people often began with something quiet. A still small voice to a prophet who was hiding in a cave. A burning bush at the edge of a shepherd's field. An angel's greeting to a young woman in an ordinary house in an ordinary town. I work in the small and quiet, and then the small and quiet becomes the hinge on which the whole story turns. Your healing is one of those things, not just the healing of your body, though I am attentive to that as well. I mean the deeper healing. The healing of how you see yourself. The healing of the places where rejection left a mark. The healing of the wounds that were carved into you by people who should have been safe. Those places are not hidden from me. They are the very places my hand is moving toward tonight, pressing gently, restoring carefully, making whole what was fractured. I do not rush healing. I am thorough. I do not want you to be almost whole. I want you to be completely whole. And the work I do tonight is the beginning of that completion. Some of it will happen in a moment. Some of it will unfold over days and weeks, as you begin to notice that the old ache has gone quiet. As you begin to notice that a name or a memory that used to cause pain is no longer sharp. As you begin to notice that you are moving through your days with a lightness you have not felt in a long time. That is healing from my hand. It comes the way spring comes. You do not see it arrive. You just step outside one morning and notice that the frost is gone, and the ground is soft and something is beginning to grow quietly, thoroughly, completely. I am also healing the way you see the future. There are fears you have carried about what is ahead, fears about provision, fears about safety, fears about those you love. I know each one of those fears by name. Tonight, I am speaking directly into them, not to dismiss them, but to replace them with the deep certainty that comes from knowing who I am and what I have promised. I have not brought you this far to abandon you. At the doorstep of your breakthrough, I do not invest seasons of work into a life and then step back at the final hour. That is not who I am. What I begin, I complete. What I promise, I fulfill. And what I have promised over your life is good. It is more than you have allowed yourself to imagine, and the imagination I gave you was designed to hold large things. So, let it open tonight. Let the small expectations that fear has kept you within begin to expand. Let yourself believe again that the best is not behind you. The best is ahead. The years that were consumed in waiting and struggle were not the peak of your story. They were the valley that made the height of what is coming possible. You are ascending now. You may not feel it yet with your feet, but the ground beneath you is rising, and the view from where I am taking you will be more than worth every step of the climb. The peace you are beginning to feel in this moment is not temporary. It is a foundation being laid. A peace that is not dependent on your circumstances remaining stable, because I am teaching you to rest in me, rather than in what you can see and control. That is the peace I promised in my word. The kind that surpasses every human attempt to understand it. The kind that keeps your heart steady when everything around you is in motion. That peace is settling into you right now. Let it in. Let it go deep. Let it take root. Your identity is being restored alongside your circumstances. The two always move together. I do not fix the outside while leaving the inside untouched. I begin with what is deepest, and what is deepest in you is a spirit made in my image, created for purpose, designed for abundance and love and service and joy. That spirit has been pressed and tested and tried. But it was never broken, and tonight it is rising into the fullness of what it was always meant to be. This is more than a miracle of provision. This is a miracle of becoming. There are people in your life who need what is happening in you tonight. I want to speak about them, because this miracle was never only for you. What I do in one life always ripples outward. That is the design of my love. It is never contained. It always overflows. Those you love and carry in your heart, and in your prayers, I see them. I know their names. I know their struggles. I know the worries you hold about their futures and their well-being. You have brought them before me so many times. You have asked me to protect them, to provide for them, to lead them safely. Those prayers have been received, every one of them. And what I am releasing into your life tonight includes what they need as well. I do not answer prayers in isolation. When I move on your behalf, I move on the behalf of everyone connected to your faith. Your prayers have been building something in the unseen, not just for yourself, but for those you love. What you have been sowing in intercession, you will see bearing fruit in their lives as well. Relationships that seemed irreparably broken will find a path toward restoration. Needs that seemed impossible to meet will be met in ways no one planned. People you have been praying for in the dark will step into light in their own time and their own way. I am the God of the prodigal's father. I am the one who watched the road and ran when I saw the returning figure in the distance. That is how I love those you carry in your prayers. I am already watching for their return. I am already preparing the welcome. Your faith has been the prayer that kept the road open, and I will honor it. I want to speak now about the relationships in your life that have been marked by pain. Betrayal has a particular kind of sting when it comes from someone you trusted, someone you opened yourself to. The wound goes deeper than ordinary hurt. I know you have carried some of those wounds. I know the names of those who caused them. And I am not asking you to pretend the pain did not happen. I am not asking you to act as though what was done was acceptable. But I am asking you to release it into my hands, because what they intended for harm, I can turn to good. That is not a hollow promise. I proved it in the life of Joseph, a man thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold to strangers, falsely accused, and imprisoned. Years of injustice, years of waiting in a darkness not of his making. And yet, not one word I had spoken over his life was cancelled by the cruelty of others. At the appointed time, every promise was fulfilled, and when he stood before the brothers who had wronged him, he was able to say, "You meant this for evil, but God meant it for good." That is the testimony I am writing over your life. What was meant to destroy you did not succeed. What was meant to end your story became part of the plot that leads to the most powerful chapter. The enemy of your soul thought he was writing the conclusion. He was only setting up the context for my intervention. Let go of the weight of what was done to you. Not because it did not matter, but because carrying it is costing you something you need for where you are going. The strength that has been tied up in holding on to old wounds is being freed tonight. And that freed strength will be redirected toward the future I have prepared. You need every bit of it for what is ahead, and what is ahead is worth everything. Speak this aloud, if you are ready to walk forward into what I have prepared for you. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description, or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. I want to tell you something about the people you will encounter in this new season. They will not all look like what you expected. Some of the greatest instruments of blessing in your life will arrive unannounced. They will come without the credentials you thought you were looking for from directions you were not watching. Stay attentive. Stay open. Do not disqualify what I send, because it does not match the picture you had imagined. My provision often arrives in the disguises of the unexpected. There will also be those whose time in your life has come to a natural close. The shifting that is happening around you will make some separations feel clear and right, and you will know in your spirit that they are necessary. Do not resist them. Not every person who has walked with you through the wilderness is meant to walk with you into the promised land. Some were companions for a season. Honor that season, release them with peace, and trust that what I bring in to replace what departs will exceed what was there before. Your circle is being refined, not reduced. What appears to be a narrowing is actually a deepening. The relationships that remain and the ones that arrive will carry greater purpose, greater loyalty, and greater love than what the former season held. Quality is rising where quantity is decreasing. And in that rising you will find the connection and belonging you have been longing for. This is restoration at every level, not just the outside circumstances being set right. The whole of your life, the inside and the outside, the private and the visible, the emotional and the practical. I am a thorough God. I leave nothing unattended. Not one part of you has been overlooked. Every dimension of your life is included in what I am doing. The word the prophet Isaiah carried said, that I would give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. That is not poetry for its own sake. That is a precise description of the exchange I make. Ashes are what remains when fire has passed through. They are the evidence of what was lost, and I take even that, even the evidence of the worst of what happened, and I exchange it for beauty. So, the very thing that should be the reminder of your pain becomes the foundation of your testimony. I do not waste even the ashes. My precious child, we have walked a long road together. You and I have seen every version of you, the one who was full of hope, and the one who was barely holding on, the one who ran toward me, and the one who was too exhausted to move. I have known every corner of you, and I have never once stepped back. You have never been too broken for my love, or too lost for my reach. That has always been true, and it will always be true. The new season you are stepping into is not a reward for perfection. It is a gift given in love by a Father, who sees not just who you are right now, but who you are becoming. I see the whole of you across all of time. I see the courage that is still forming in you. I see the capacity for compassion that is deepening in you because of what you have walked through. I see the wisdom being laid in you like a slow and patient river carving its channel through stone. You are not finished. You are being completed. And what is being completed is magnificent. I want you to understand something about the anointing that is resting on you now. Anointing is not something you earn by achieving a standard. It is something I place on a life that I have chosen to carry my purposes into the world. Moses was anointed in the burning bush in the middle of the wilderness, not in the palace. David was anointed on a hillside standing in the smell of sheep before anyone knew his name. Gideon received his calling while hiding in a wine press, afraid and unseen. I do not wait for you to arrive at a polished, confident version of yourself before I anoint you. I anoint you in the middle of where you are, and the anointing does the transforming. You have been anointed to carry something into every space you enter. A presence, a peace, a quality of stillness and strength that other people will feel without being able to name. Rooms will shift when you walk into them, not because of who you are in yourself, but because of who I am in you. That is the nature of my anointing. It moves outward from the vessel. It touches what you touch. It speaks through your words without you having to try to make it happen. It is given. It is permanent. It is already at work. People will come to you in the days ahead, who are standing in the places you have stood. They will carry the same weight you carried, asking the same questions you asked. And you will be able to look them in the eye, and tell them with the authority of lived experience, that it is true that the silence breaks, that the waiting ends, that the God who promises is the God who delivers. Your testimony will be the evidence someone else needs to hold on for one more day, and I trusted that responsibility to you on purpose. Share what I have done in you, not to perform, but because living water is meant to flow. Every word of hope you speak out of what you have received will carry the authority of heaven behind it. It will not just be words, it will be truth confirmed by experience. And truth confirmed by experience is the most powerful thing you can offer another soul. The light that has entered your life in this hour will not fade when morning comes. It is not a feeling that rises and falls with your circumstances. It is a settled truth, a covenant reality, a promise sealed in my own nature. You are seen. You are known. You are loved without limit. You are covered by a grace you did not earn and cannot lose. You are moving into a season where that truth becomes visible. Not just to you, but to everyone around you. Do not return to the old way of seeing yourself. Do not pick up the old measurements and apply them to who you are now. That version of you is behind you. The one walking forward carries something different. Carries the mark of what I have done. Carries the peace that endures. Carries the authority that comes from having been through the fire and walked out the other side. You are different now. Walk like it, speak like it, expect like it. The road ahead is not without its challenges. I will not pretend to you that every day from here will be easy. But I will tell you this with certainty. You will not walk any of it alone. I will be before you on the road preparing what you have not yet encountered. I will be behind you guarding what you have already passed through. I will be beside you in the moments that feel impossible, and I will be within you providing the strength that surpasses what you could generate on your own. You are surrounded. You are accompanied. You are never, not even for a single breath on your own. Let what has been spoken settle into the deep places. Let it become the ground you stand on, rather than the thought you think. Truth heard is good. Truth inhabited is transformation. I am not giving you a temporary lift. I'm building something permanent in you, and what I build, no storm can take down. Rest now in what is yours. The miracle is not coming. It has arrived. The blessing is not on its way. It is here in this moment, in this breath, in the quiet certainty that has been growing in you as these words have reached your spirit. This is your turning point. This is your hour, and I have been saving it for you, my beloved. Go now and carry the light that has touched you tonight into every corner of your life. Speak it to those who need it. Live it in front of those who are watching. And when you look back from the place where I am bringing you, you will see that this was the night where everything changed. Say Amen and receive it. Because what I have spoken over your life today is already done. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, This breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary, where we discuss the Word daily, and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary, where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass by you. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.